So, hello and welcome everyone to our summer solstice ceremony and celebration. I'm Bonnie Salomon. I also want to honor and celebrate Juneteenth. This is such an amazing day and so beautiful that it falls on the summer solstice when the energies are so strong. So, I'm very grateful that this holiday has been recognized and is so meaningful to so many. So let me see if I can get me old slides going. So again, I'm Bonnie Salomon, and I'm here on behalf of Wise Transformation. The other lady in this picture is my beloved partner, Judy Keating. And together we have been working for the last few years to create a safe and meaningful place where the spiritual meets the everyday. So, again, welcome. Um, and I want to take a moment for us to just ground ourselves. So, if you will, put your feet on the ground and take 3 deep breaths. And just from your heart, name 5 things to yourself that you are truly in gratitude for in your life. So let's take just a minute and do that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This is a time when an astronomical phenomenon where the Earth's axial tilt toward the sun is at its maximum. And I'm sure you all know that. I loved seeing it in words so that I could kind of wrap my head around it and um, see what came out of that for me. And I'm going to stop the share right now and actually share something else with you all. This is a video that I found. Where did he go? Okay. Um, from a beloved teacher, Sadhguru. And I'm going to open this up and play this for you. It's 4.5 minutes. So I think this will help you create the energy that you want to have on this auspicious time of the year.
Today's equinox. All of you know what it means in terms of the celestial equator. That is an imaginary line drawn above the Earth's equator, which is also an imaginary line, dividing this planet into northern and southern hemispheres, or that point where the magnetic field of the northern pole and the southern pole alter in different ways. The different fields of energy, how they behave in the northern hemisphere, and just crossing over the equator, how they behave is entirely different. So on this day, this celestial equator is in perfect alignment with the sun. That means all the influences upon the planet are at an equilibrium. The significance of equinox for the human being is, on this day, the masculine and the feminine is at an even keel. In the yogic tradition, this day is seen as a day when one has the best possibility of transcending the limitations and the compulsions of one's physical longings, transcending the lustful compulsions within the human body. The possibility of that is at its best. On this day, Shiva sat as an Ardhanari, that is, he was half woman and half man, because both are even today. This is a day when women are on equal keel with the male. Other days, I mean, they're dominant. It's a level playing field within our own system. And whether socially, economically or otherwise, the only thing that we can provide is a level playing field for everybody. You cannot make people equal, it's never going to work.
Oops. Well, as Tina just pointed out to me, this is about equinox and not solstice. So I'm delighted to be in Mercury retrograde. And so let's just go ahead and finish, because I think there's a lot in this about the masculine and the feminine that might benefit us. So Mercury retrograde, here I am.
Equinox, all of you know what it means in terms of the celestial equator. That is an imaginary line drawn above
So
the Earth's equator,
okay.
southern hemisphere, and just crossing over the… For the human being is, on this day, the masculine and the feminine is at an even keel. In the yogic tradition, this day is seen as a day when one has the best possibility of transcending the limitations and the compulsions of one's physical longings, transcending the lustful compulsions within the human body. The possibility of that is at its best. On this day, Shiva sat as an Ardhanari, that is, he was half woman and half man, because both are even today. This is a day when women are on equal keel with the male. Other days, I mean, they're dominant. It's a level playing field within our own system. And whether socially, economically or otherwise, the only thing that we can provide is a level playing field for everybody. You cannot make people equal, it's never going to work. But you can provide an equal opportunity. An equal opportunity simply means a level playing field. Traditionally, it is considered as a day that is free of prejudice. Why it is considered as a day free of prejudice is, prejudice essentially arises in our minds because we are overly identified with something. We are here coming down to a very basic aspect of being masculine or feminine. If you're too identified with being masculine, you will have a masculine prejudice. If you're too identified being feminine, you will have a feminine prejudice. So equinox is a day to bring balance to this, to not be identified with this or that, not even being a man or a woman, not even being human or another creature, just to sit here and throb.
Well, thank you for bearing with that papa goof. Um, I think the message about equality, whether it was for equinox or solstice, but especially for Juneteenth, is pretty important. So, what did you get from this video, despite the fact that it was equinox and not solstice? What came up for you? Anybody?
I was just wondering if, since it's, equinox and solstice are kind of just the opposites, if it's still equal, if it makes feminine and masculine equal on solstice as well.
Well, certainly solstice is about the sun, which is masculine fire. And as I was watching this, and I was thinking, what difference does it make what day it is? You know, where are we needing to attach to equality? And especially in light of the fact that it's Juneteenth, I think that this message, albeit somehow spirit was leading me to the idea of being equal, and that we can choose any day to be neither masculine or feminine, as he said, and to be a human being. And on this day of solstice, to be in celebration for our life, and not to necessarily have to um, assign ourselves, because these are man-made labels, and we have the gift of choice, and we can be all those things. I mean, when you study astrology, you realize that we have both masculine and feminine within ourselves. So let's practice it out in the world in equality. I hope that helped, Janet. Great. Okay, let me get back to our slides, and hopefully I haven't. Tina, did you want to share something, honey?
I was just going to say, since technically, this would be kind of masculine dominant, since we're more toward the solar, that it's even more essential to balance it with the feminine.
Agreed. I think, when we so affiliate with the masculine, we become harder around the edges, perhaps. So that we always want to do this balancing throughout the year. It really doesn't matter what day it is, especially those of us with a spiritual mindset, how important that is. All right, if I can get us moving. So solstice will expand you into hope, connection, and revelation. It will draw you out with compassion and then demand the best your love has to give. Compassion is not all softness, it is fierce. It is unyielding, uncompromising in the love that feeds it. Centering love is no joke and no easy task. So this is from Wee Moon, if you all are familiar with that entity. And I think this speaks to what we were just talking about in terms of equality. What do you think about this idea that compassion is not all softness? Can you think of a time in your life when it was fierce, for lack of a better term, to be compassionate? Is there anything that comes to mind? Do you agree with this statement? Hey, Tina.
Yeah, I think, I'm not a parent, but I am an animal parent. And when you're fiercely, even compassion being fierce when you have to euthanize an animal, because it really, there's a fierceness about that, and you're doing it out of compassion, but it's a step you have to take. And any parent protecting their child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and helping someone do the best thing for themselves can make you appear to be fierce. And you're being fierce in your love for that person to help them move forward. Janet, did you have something you wanted to add?
I was just gonna say it's the tough love that you have to stand up sometimes and don't let people either cross your boundaries or cross even their own boundaries. You have to help people stand up to what's best for them. So basically everything you just said.
Exactly, exactly. So this is the time that we look at these elements of our life to find our own pathway and to understand that compassion is not always going, oh dear, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Compassion can be helping someone see all the good in what's happening and know that it's happening for you and not to you. So the solstice is always a wonderful time to connect and tune into our intuition and to the beauty of nature all around us. Excuse me. As the sun reaches a special marker in the cosmic skies, the ancients believed that the veil between the world and the next grew thinner. Now, this happens on equinoxes as well. But they also believed that the spirits of nature were more active and more willing to make themselves known. So versus Samhain, which is about the veil between the worlds and, excuse me, connecting with the dead, this is a connection with nature and being with nature. So I'm going to take a breath here and turn off my audio so I can clear my throat. Thank you. So even though this is the longest day, you'll note that in terms of sunrise and sunset, there's not equality. And this surprised me. I didn't know this. The earliest sunrise happens a few days before, and the latest sunset takes place a few days after the solstice. So maybe something interesting to notice. Oh boy. It's definitely having a Mercury retrograde day. Let's see what we can do here to move this forward. So this is the time of fertility and abundance. This is the time when the seeds that we planted have begun to sprout, and that we have the opportunity to take advantage of the bounty that is given to us at this time of year. There's some correlation to us. So this is a time when we're looking at our own personal growth, because there's more light available for us to go into the darker spaces of our consciousness and light them up so that we can bring forward the things that we have not taken a hard look at, maybe recently or maybe ever, and bring them into the light, because when we do that, they become less fearsome, less troublesome. And the sun, in the instance of the solstice, is the light of consciousness. It says, illuminate soul seeds for deeper connection to transformation. And that transformation is within you. And then it has the opportunity to ripple out, to go further into society. And you plant your seeds as a spiritual being or a spiritual leader at this time. So take just a minute and think about this reflection on your own personal growth because we're going to look at some opportunities to go deeper into that. All right, so here we are. Not only do we have summer solstice and Juneteenth and many other things going on in the cosmos, but we are at the end, coming up to the end on the 22nd of Mercury retrograde. And I wanted to share a few things with you about Mercury retrograde because, as you know, sometimes this causes snaggles in communication, and we are asked to be more careful. Little small accidents are likely to happen. You know, don't sign a contract during this period, and just many other negative things. But I wanted to share with you some ideas about what are good things to do while we still have this light in Mercury retrograde. So this is from a woman named Mary Grace Garris, and I thought these were something to give some consideration to. She said, remember the comforts from your past. And Mercury retrograde encourages you to revisit a specific flavor from your childhood because the planet's mysticism allows you to enjoy certain foods that trigger happy memories and their healing powers. And Mercury is a great time, Mercury retrograde, to complete things. You may be working with emotions from your childhood. This is a great time to move into that arena and finalize your feelings so that you clear out some of that wonderful internal space that gives you room to bring in the new. So Mercury retrograde is a great time for that. Number 2 is find lost items. I'm going to go looking for my earrings. I have so many that are one of a set, but lost keys, lost paperwork that you come to need. It's a great time to hunt around and, you know, maybe even between the cushions on the couch for a little extra change. So number 3, return your attention to a big project that once seemed overly ambitious. I have a few of those in my desk for sure. So the retrograde gives you the ability to slow down and really self-edit. That's because Mercury energy focuses on being highly intellectual and detail-oriented. So take that critical eye and put it to good use. And, you know, when she recommends going back into an ambitious project, you don't have to chew it all at one time. You take the small bites, you take the small steps, and you move forward at your own speed. But it's a chance to resurrect, if you will, something that was meaningful to you in the past. And then finally, reconnect with people you've lost touch with. I love this one. Mercury retrograde can have a boomerang effect of bringing people back to you with whom you've lost touch. They may suddenly appear on your horizon, or you may take the step to go ahead and reach out and contact them. So those are some ideas of things you can do in the next 3 days to take advantage of Mercury retrograde. So let's go back to your inner growth. And I want you to spend some time. What have you given your best intention and attention to bring to fruition? Now, this is since winter solstice. The last 6 months, what do you feel you've accomplished? So let's take a few minutes. I'm going to give you some silence to work in, because I think that's important. I know sometimes we add music, and that's lovely. But this time, I really want you to dig deeply into what you have done in the last 6 months that you feel has been an accomplishment. So go ahead and begin. Okay. So I'd like to take a moment and share, have you all share, um, because we don't often uh, really celebrate ourselves. I'm sorry, I'm really having a wonky time today. Amazing. What's happening in my world? Okay. Um, are you all seeing the slide? No. Okay. Um, hopefully you're seeing Janet and me, maybe. Janet, are you seeing us? Perfect. Okay, that's great. Um, so we do not celebrate ourselves enough. I'm a life cycle celebrant, as many of you know, and I create ceremonies for the important things in our lives, not just birthdays and anniversaries, but the acknowledgement of ourselves. And so I'd like you to take a minute and be brave enough to share your inner growth for the past few months, past 6 months since winter solstice. What have you accomplished? It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a small thing that you've been wanting to do for a while, but would love to hear from you. What is it that you're proud you have accomplished, that you feel good about yourself for what you've accomplished? Somebody's going to be brave enough to jump in. Okay, just unmute yourself, Janet.
I have released a whole humongous pile of trauma and wounding in the last 6 months. And I'm willing to step into letting people see me again. And the weirdest, littlest thing that I'm really proud of is I'm willing to wear like tank tops and clothes where people can see me, see my body, that I've always worn really big, like tents over my body all the time.
Well, congratulations. How wonderful. That's something to really sing about, Janet. I support you and I want to celebrate you, and thank you for being willing to step into that and to tell us about it.
Thanks.
All right, Janet, thanks. Anybody else? From Cynthia. I was a vigilant steward to my body and remain COVID free. Fantastic, Cynthia. Um, I I know that has been, yeah, that has been a very big thing for you, and you have done an incredible job of keeping yourself safe, despite what that meant, and giving up all the things that you had to give up to do that. So I celebrate you. We celebrate you, and thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I'm willing to share that I'm making some big changes in my life that I didn't see coming, and that I am meeting them with peace in my heart and calm. And I promised myself that I know all this is happening for me and not to me, even though it seems rather strange. But congratulating myself for that. Anybody else want to step up? Tina, I'm so glad.
I've had a million health things and a new health condition, but I feel like I've really been focusing on my health and like setting things in order that I need to do for my health, like making myself take good supplements and make myself eat a salad every day. I was walking a little bit. I got a membership to be able to swim at a pool this summer because that's good for your joints. And it's actually at a nudist colony, so that's kind of interesting. But it was the place that I could find that I could get just a summer membership, and it was much cheaper than even the Y. So so that's nice. And I'm just really trying to, while I have health things going on, I'm trying to focus on what I can do to make my health better.
Fabulous. And I know you've worked really hard, and I celebrate you. And I've seen remarkable changes. So thank you so much, Tina, for stepping up and sharing that. Okay, last chance if anybody cares to share. All right.
I just have been, I'm Marcy, and
Hi, Marcy.
I've had a lot of support over the past 20 years. My husband had been sick and passed away last August. And so I am just working at extending myself, being a friend to the people that have been supportive to me, my friends and family, and listening, taking time instead of being so self-involved and being a caretaker. I'm trying to reach out and do things that I haven't done for a long time. So, and it takes a lot of effort, just like wearing a tank top. I understood that when you said that so much. So, I don't know. That's it. That's it. So,
That's beautiful, Marcy. Thank you so much. Celebrate you. I'm sorry for the terrible loss that you've had, and I hold space for you to move into a new chapter of your life with ease and grace. I wish that for you.
thank you. And I wanted to say, I thought the definition of compassion was very apt and very, it's going to give me a great deal to think about, because there's being strong, being compassionate and being strong outwardly sometimes means not being strong. I mean, you think you're being strong, but it's, you need to be soft for yourself or soft on yourself. And it's hard to hold that in balance. So, okay, that's it for me. I'm going to follow through and listen.
That's such a good point. That is such a good point, Marcy, and thank you for sharing that. That yes, we think that we always have to be strong and not ask for help, and the compassion has to start with ourselves. That has to be the first place. So, all right, it looks like I've lost my little PowerPoint somewhere along the way. So I am going to try to regain it. And meanwhile, we'll talk amongst yourselves. I love having to do something like this during Mercury retrograde, because I know there may be some challenges along the way. So let me get this going again.
I just want to say, since while we're doing this on the compassion thing, I feel like I have to learn to be fiercely compassionate for myself, because I've always been a giver. And now I can't give the way that I once could because of health reasons. And I'm having to fiercely defend that. When people want me to do something, it's hard for me to say no for things that I don't even need to be doing physically. And so it's like I have to fiercely defend, and just not just say yes, knowing that I'm going to hurt myself. I have to be like, no, and this is being compassionate to myself, but it goes along with the fiercely compassionate thing.
Oh, I love that, Janet. The sacred no. The sacred no. So I want to share this with you, because this is kind of my mantra. If it's not a resounding yes, it's a no. Because we expect so much of ourselves, and we think that every time somebody asks us something that we have to comply. Not true. Not true. Not true. So it's definitely important that that we understand the fact that we have a right to only do what is sacred to us. Because if we're doing something else that isn't meaningful, how much love can we give it? And how much of a taskmaster do we have to become to ourselves if we're doing something that doesn't bring us joy, that doesn't fill our hearts, and that doesn't align with our purpose in life? So it's just so important that, yes, we have responsibilities. Yes, we have obligations. And how much latitude and space and compassion and love can we give ourselves to do the work we were meant to do? So another couple of questions here. How can you shine your brightest light going forward? And what do you need to fill yourself to shine that light? So what is it? Just, in a word or two, or a phrase, or a whole paragraph if you want. What is it that you feel you need in your life to help you shine the light? And remember that your light is the only one like it in the world. And if you don't shine that light, if you don't fulfill what makes your heart sing, then nobody else can do that. Only you. So, what do you need to fill yourself? Anybody? What's missing?
For me, it's finding a purpose that I'm passionate about.
Awesome, Tina. Yeah. That's not always easy to do. It's takes a lot of culling of the weeds that we've allowed to grow up in our lives to get to that purpose. And I think you're definitely on the right path. Thank you, dear. Anyone else?
Mine is similar. I feel like I need the clarity of what my purpose is. I've got 1,000 ideas and never know for sure which one to follow.
I think the nice part about purpose is that you get to try out a number of purposes, because nothing's engraved in stone that you absolutely have to do this. You always, and I want you to remember this because I think it's so critically important for women. You always have options. You may not think you have options, but you do. Absolutely. Cynthia says, growing in relationship with the divine spirit. Beautiful, Cynthia. Absolutely beautiful. So going back to this idea of choices, and no choice is, and doing nothing is still a choice. But keep in mind, you can change what you believe your life purpose to be, because we're different at different ages in our lives. And my purpose as a younger woman, and then as a mother, and then in later life, the purposes have shifted, and that's okay. That's definitely okay. So keep that in mind. Anything else wanting to come up? Okay. I don't know why my computer wants to do this. Yeah, we were just talking about what needs to go or move to shine your brightest light. Let me see, I've got a chat. Marcy says, knowing where to start. That's a good one, Marcy. Yeah. I think being brave and being willing to just take the first steps, whatever they are, and know that the path that you start, you don't have to continue if it's not serving your highest good. So anything else in terms of what needs to move, what needs to get out of your life?
For me, it's not feeling so limited and obsessed about my physical issues so that I can focus on something else.
That's amazingly insightful, Tina. It's beautiful. Yeah. Anyone else?
Mine is not feeling I need more education or certification or something.
Indeed. I share that with you, Janet. I've always felt that. Gee, do I need another certificate? Do I need another diploma? Do I need, yeah. And that willingness to know that you're enough and the gifts that you give, no one else can give. That's a big step. And when you can reach that point, you'll find deeper peace.
And I'm one to say that you can get the greatest degree in the world, and if it's not what lines up with yourself, it can be like a big waste of your, you know, I don't know. I mean, I got a veterinary degree and I don't use it because it wasn't me. And so that certificate is, you know, or whatever is, you know, I mean, to me, it kind of derailed me from ever finding my purpose, because my purpose was getting this certificate and not, and at the end going, wow, I still don't feel like I can do the job because it doesn't line up with my personality.
Ah, awesome that you see that. Thank you. Thank you. Cynthia wrote, doubt and judgment need to go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We all need to understand how amazing we are, and that we are beloved children of spirit, of the God of your understanding. We wouldn't be here if there was any doubt about what was intended for us. And so when we can open and sanctify, one of my favorite words, sanctify and bless whatever is happening in our lives, we can move forward with ease and grace. Because if we don't bless it, if we curse it, what are we doing? We're cursing Source, who has put us here. So just another thought. Really philosophical today, aren't I? Thank you for hanging in there. Okay. Oh, she still doesn't complete it. So here's some suggestions of what you can do this solstice weekend. Use every occasion to fill your lungs with fresh air. And I will add to that, spending some time in silence with yourself. You have all the answers. They're there. You don't need to listen to the voices from the outside or some of those internal voices that are going, oh, you're not enough. Oh, you should have done this. Oh. Let it go. That's what Cynthia was just talking about. Another thing you can do, and I love this one, choose a nature spot with a spectacular sunrise view, if you're an early riser, to greet the first rays of the sun. The wonderful thing, any of these days in the solstice window, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, any of those days. Breathe in the smell of wild flowers, feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, and hear the bird songs. Life's simple pleasures. A beautiful thing to do this solstice weekend. And then here's some rituals. And make a choice. You know, you can have a bonfire or visit someone who is. I love this picture of a potluck. You know, gather your friends and tell them, okay, we're doing this on short notice. Everybody bring something, and it'll all work out perfectly. You don't even have to assign dishes. Somehow it always works out. Even if it's all desserts, that's fine too. Make preserves. That, you know, takes a little thought, or a song or drum circle. And if you don't want to have a whole circle, do it yourself. Sing to the top of your lungs, drum. Um, it doesn't even have to be a drum. It can be a big can of something, or, even your computer. Just do something in celebration. And I want to share this poem with you. Kaylin Castell is just an amazing woman, for those of you who know of her. She's the co-founder of the Shamanic Astrology Mystery School, and just a dear, dear woman. And she wrote this poem just the other day, and I wanted to share it. Blessed by the bright light of the sun, blessed by summer's enlivening fun, blessed by the abundance of the earth, blessed by joy, ecstasy, and mirth. Blessed to be here now, blessed to uphold a sacred vow, to honor the gift of this time, to celebrate all that is mine, to honor the sacred ways and to celebrate with heartfelt praise, to honor the beauty of this earth, to celebrate her glorious rebirth. Gratitude for this luminous season of light, radiating blissful, magical, magnificent delight. Gratitude for these wondrous mysteries and insight, shining with miraculous love, so brilliantly bright. Just love that piece. So when we complete, I'm going to ask you to get your favorite song on your iPad or your phone or your computer and move your energy, dance, or just move in some way that that allows this amazing solstice energy to come out, and make it one of your, doesn't have to be your favorite, but one of your favorite songs that makes you want to move. So that's that's your homework for when we're complete. I want to tell you about a couple of upcoming events that Wise Transformation is participating in. And Judy Keating will do a Capricorn new moon ceremony this Wednesday at noon. And those of you who receive our newsletter, you will get information on the link for that. If you don't receive our newsletter, you can find the information on our website, wisetransformation.com. And hopefully we'll see you there. The other thing, this is a reminder about the Galactic Gathering of Wise Women, which is the most magnificent event where women from all spiritual walks of life come together to share their wisdom, their laughter, their tears, and just an overall joyous time. So we still have our early bird pricing and payment plan until July the 6th. So if you haven't signed up already, and I know some of you already have, we can't wait to see you. We have an agenda that is even better than the one that was last year, and that was pretty incredible. A lot of fun, a lot of free time so that you can revitalize and regenerate yourself. We've all been through a challenging time. So why not treat yourself to time with amazing, loving, kind, compassionate women, and join us. So you can find out about that on wisetransformation.com as well. So my wish for you is verdant and abundant growth in this season. I want to thank you, each of you, for giving of your time today. And some of our information came from roamingyogi.com and foreverconscious.com. And of course, Mary Grace Garris. So in closing, I would just like to hear from each of you, what is your aha moment? What was your aha moment? What is it, or what is it that you are going to do moving forward through this verdant and growing season? Anybody? Tina.
I'm working on trying to find my purpose, really. I'm having, issues with that because I can't do what I want to do. And I've been trying to like reach out to people in new situations and just trying to expose myself to more things to see if something will come to me that feels right.
I'll be glad to help. Thanks, Tina. So good to have you with us. Anyone else? Take away today.
Mine is to just start moving
Cool.
and not worry about the direction yet.
Awesome. I love that. So Cynthia's going to dance. Fantastic. Fantastic. Marcy, anything for you, love?
I just wrote, I thought I didn't know if it went through the chat or not, that I just feel really blessed to feel the cycles of life and the cycles of the seasons and some of the ending and some of the beginning and the energy from the seasons. I think it's a good place. It's and I appreciate everybody. I appreciate getting to be here with everybody. So thank you.
Thank you for being here, and wishing you just the most spectacular solstice, however you spend it. And we'll look forward to seeing you very soon. Janet, so thank you. Oh, I'm glad you thought it was cool, Janet. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you here, and I'm glad you're showing up and letting us see you. And it was a joy. You have a wonderful smile. So thank you all, and hope to see you soon.